Here's something interesting. The AI models you're working with have gotten good, like genuinely good, and faster than almost anybody predicted. On one benchmark of hard PhD level science questions, the leading models went from scoring around 39% accurate to roughly 94% in a little under 2 years. On a test of real messy software bugs, they went from solving under 5% to over 90% in a very short amount of time. But here is what is bugging me about this. Our capacity as mere humans to check that work obviously hasn't improved at all. We read at the same speed that we read last year, and when the volume of output outruns our ability to actually review it, something quiet and consequential happens. Our approval stops being a safeguard and starts being a rubber stamp. And there's this risk that we're not overseeing the work anymore. We're just kind of rubber stamping it. So in this video, I'm going to talk about ways we can mitigate against that with best practices around structuring human-in-the-loop interfaces. We'll talk through ways you stay the person actually in charge, the one that's in the driver's seat, even as the work gets faster than you are. Let's get into it. All right, so here is what we are going to cover in today's video. First, we'll get very precise about what a human-in-the-loop review interface actually is and why the ordinary chat window where most people try to do this is actually the wrong surface for reviewing anything at volume. Next, we'll cover the handful of design principles that separate a review screen, which keeps you in control, from one that just kind of manufactures the appearance of one. This is probably the part I most want you to carry out here. And finally, I'll show you the thing itself. Mid-session inside Claude, we will generate one of these interfaces from scratch and move through a stack of decisions and feed the results right back into the work. No design tool, no engineer. Let's get started. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Sunny. I'm a serial founder now on my 4th startup. I'm also a former senior engineer at Bloomberg and Shopify, and outside of my startup, I'm currently an adjunct professor at Columbia Business School where I teach tech and AI. Listen, my goal for today's video, and really all my videos, is to help you make sense of this ever-evolving AI landscape. Let's get started with our first step. Let's start with what human-in-the-loop actually is. So a human-in-the-loop interface is simply a screen built for one job: to let a person review what the AI produced and approve it, reject it, or change it before any of it becomes final. That's the whole idea. The human sits in the loop between the model's output and the real world consequence. Now, most people already do a rough version of this. The AI hands back a long response in the chat window, and you scroll through it, nodding or wincing, and here's the problem. The chat window is genuinely a poor place to review work at any real volume. It's a single linear column. There are no controls. There's no sense of how much is left to do. No way to mark that item 14 needs a second look while you clear the other 39 items, and no record of what you decide. You're just kind of reading what you get back. When what you actually need is a workspace. The quiet unlock in Claude, though, is that you don't have to accept that trait. You can actually ask it to build you that workspace, a proper review interface generated on the spot, shaped around the exact decision in front of you. You describe the review you wish you had, and it makes it. Now, I want to turn to some of the best practices around human-in-the-loop interfaces out there. So the first and by far most important is you want to route by risk and not by reflex. Here's what I mean. Don't build an interface that asks you to look at everything with equal weight. If you treat the clean, obvious, low dollar items with the same emphasis as some of the more nuanced ones, you'll do what every tired reviewer eventually does. You'll start clicking approve on autopilot. Reviewing everything is how you end up with genuinely reviewing nothing. So the interface should put the more risky material in front of you first. Sort by the model's own confidence. Lowest first, and surface the largest amounts, the largest ones that are more material, first. So, and let the high confidence majority wait. You can get to those later and pass through those with a bit of a lighter touch. So your real attention lands where it actually should be. And here's something I actually learned the hard way, which probably applies far beyond AI. Any review queue where approve is the fast, frictionless path and everything else takes effort will quietly turn into a rubber stamp. People follow the path of least resistance, especially under time pressure. That's not a character flaw, it's basic human behavior. So the moment you notice that approving is effortless and objecting is more of a chore, you're no longer looking at an oversight tool, you're looking at a machine for producing the paperwork of oversight. Design against that from the very first screen. Now, that last point leads me straight into the next set of principles. Keep the cognitive load low and make saying no exactly as easy as saying yes. So low cognitive load means one clean decision at a time. Each item gets its own card, the recommendation, a plain language reason, a confidence signal, and critically, the underlying detail you need to actually judge it. Not a wall of raw output, a summary you can actually act on. Then the actions themselves, approve, reject, and a change, should sit right there, equally prominent, one click each. This sounds obvious and but a lot of people kind of don't get that right. So when rejecting something takes more work than approving it, a form, an extra screen, a justification, you're kind of forced, or even if you're forced to type, you've quietly told the reviewer which answer the system prefers. Real oversight requires that no is a first-class option, not a detour you have to go looking for. So let's actually see this in action. So what I have here is a super simple Claude session. Basically, the scenario is I'm a controller and I essentially need to review all of these expenses in a CSV file that I provided. I also provided the expense policy in my company, so it has some of that context. And here's what it provided back. It basically provided its recommendations, but in a format that's more native to the AI model, which is in JSON. And you can see here, kind of follows a structure, but this is like a nightmare for me to review. I mean, maybe I could review this because it's not that many, but if it was more, it would be a pain to review. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to paste in this prompt. And what this prompt is going to do is it's going to turn this into a nice review interface for me. So that way I can review it and then push the results back into the chat. So you see here, it has some design requirements. I'm happy to throw this prompt directly in the comments below. Let's see what it comes back with. Okay, so we see that this is now done, and now we have this fantastic, easy interface where we can review each item one by one. We can hit one, approve, reject. It like moves through this interface for us. So you can just see it's significantly easier to now do this human review, and we're more likely to provide more accurate results. And then when we're done, we just go through this whole thing. And actually, there's keyboard commands here too, which is great. I'm just going to approve the whole thing. And then what we do is then we download this file, and then we feed this file back into the chat because this file will be in that JSON format, which is more native to the AI model. All right, let's recap. So AI can now produce more considered output in an hour than you can carefully review in a day. And that gap is only widening. And left unmanaged, it turns your approval into a reflex and your oversight into a formality. A human-in-the-loop interface is how you close that gap on your own terms by putting these risky decisions in front of you first, making rejection as easy as approval, keeping everything provisional until you say otherwise, and recording what you decided and why. And the reason this is suddenly practical is that you no longer need anyone to build the interface for you. You can actually just generate it in the moment around the exact decision you're facing. So here's your assignment. Find one place where you're currently reviewing AI output by scrolling through a chat window. And I want you to create an interface like this where you can actually review things one by one in a way that preserves your cognitive load. If you do this, let me know how it goes in the comments. I'm very curious to know. And if you stuck around till the end of this video, I appreciate you. I will see you on the next one.